bitchy with it otherwise.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Movers and Shakers. Today I have a lovely band with me. Would you guys like to first introduce yourselves individually?
Sure. Alright, I'll start us out. My name is Christian Ropesa Pineda. What's your name, man?
Oh, I thought you were going to say the instrument you played. I'm Diego.
They could guess.
I play bass. I'll just
well, they're not guessing anymore, I guess. I'm Cam.
And I'm Chad.
Nice, I'm Amara. Okay, great. So, can you guys walk me through how you guys originally started off as a band? Like, how did you guys all meet? How did that all go together?
Well, these two started it.
Okay. Me and Christian had we were in 7th grade, and we were kind of like in that edgy phase of our life, and we were like, dude, why don't we just start a band? Like, F school, this is cool and all, but we really should be making music and starting a band. And then I guess from there, we've always wanted to write music. We've always tried to write music together. And then we were in dire need of musicians. It was just me and him. And then we were we need a drummer, we need a singer, we need all these other people. And then he was actually at our high school. So we were just we asked him, but he was a couple years older than us.
But they were all in the jazz program together at the high school.
Yeah, we knew him, but we were just kind of not sure if he'd join because he was just a lot older. But he said sure, yeah, join your little thing. And then after I guess a couple years, we were playing in his backyard. And then that's where we came across him. We were already jamming. We jammed throughout COVID and all of that. And then we, I guess, didn't really know that we needed a singer at the time. We kind of just kept playing. And then
we're a jam band. You just play 10-minute songs.
Yeah, and we were just all right, we're going home.
Cool, good song. That was cool.
Without a singer too?
Yeah, without a singer. We didn't know we really needed one.
Just noise.
And we were also still young at that point. We were sophomores in high school. And then he kind of introduced himself at that point. We were practicing, and he heard some noise.
Yeah, because their backyard butted up against my backyard when I moved back after COVID. So I was just chilling in my room, and I heard a band out of nowhere. And so I look out my window and I see them in the backyard. I go over to the fence and I yell at them. I'm like, "Hey, you guys have a band?" And they're like, "Why is a white guy on our fence?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
that was wild. That was really crazy.
Because
we were young, man. I was 15. Diego was 16, and
Chad, you were 20 already, right?
I was already 20.
And he was already 20. Whatever. That's fine. But
it took a couple. It took
The point is, we were kids.
Yeah.
Point is that we were really, really young, and especially growing up.
though.
Well, growing up in South Central too, and going to school in South Central, Cameron was the only white dude I knew for a while,
Yeah.
And now I'm at USC, and that's thrown out the window.
Yeah,
but,
surrounded by white people now.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it's also cool to hear that you guys originally said there was jazz influences in there as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
super
always.
dope. That's super dope. But I feel that's something that a lot of musicians should have, especially playing live music where maybe this happens, so you have to adjust. Yeah, so that's
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is a reality. No matter how practiced you are, sometimes something just happens and you gotta roll with it.
Exactly.
That's very cool. So even though you guys said that you have backgrounds in jazz, what musical genre would you guys describe your band as?
It's always a toughie.
Like folk. It's that was a joke.
Yeah, I was about to be all right, let's see where this is going.
I don't know, we kind of get loud and noise rocky and shoegazy sometimes. I bring a lot of grunge influence because I'm a big fan of the 90s music recently.
It's do you know the band Title Fight? It's basically very it's emo, but it's not the kind of emo that you stereotypically think of. It's kind of noise. It has that noise and Wallace sound kind of vibe. And we have that kind of inspiration. We do take a lot from that band. There's also what other couple bands we take inspiration from?
Oh, I really like Basement.
Yeah,
super good.
a lot of
Yeah, we get Floydy sometimes.
We get Floydy.
We like to take
time.
from old and new. Title Fight and Basement. Those are bands that are from the last 10 years.
Right. Very cool.
So it's what genre is that?
Fugaze, man.
It gets really, the genres nowadays get really messy, especially with
Yeah.
rock music. everybody loves the term shoegaze right now, which is great, but like it is so not what shoegaze like used to be back when it started in like the late 80s, early 90s.
And how does it differ from the late 80s to now?
I mean, that was very much more like, that kind of started out kind of more dream poppy with stuff like Slow Dive, whereas now, you know, there's still like definitely dream pop elements, but you get this kind of like grunge gaze stuff happening now, you know, which is like, it's really cool to see it kind of becoming its own thing. And I kind of think of us as like vaguely part of that.
Okay, cool. That's really cool. And I think, especially with the internet, like I'm a film person, I think genres tend to meld together, and also like different cultures tend to meld together too. Oh, yeah. So I think that can be a beautiful thing too. I've been on TikTok, and there's been like Korean like K-pop artists like who have taken inspiration from like Tyla and like Burna Boy, and so like they're singing like hey, and I'm like, wait, this has a little bit of Afro beats to it.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see the globalization of that.
I know, it's fun to like spot it in like weird genres too, where you're like not expecting like, you know, an Afro beat or something like that.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, I relate to that.
Hold on, I see what you're doing there.
You're like, I can hear Burna Boy in that.
Yeah, we'll get a Vocaloid in there.
So you guys spoke a lot to like influences. In your opinion, like what makes a band a good band? Like what makes a band able to like flow together?
I think it's like the relationship. Like,
Yeah, it's all down to chemistry.
You can't like be like, I mean, I guess you can, but like you could be in a band with people, but like you really like it's more than that. Like it comes from like within the group of people. Like it's not all what you see and hear.
Yeah.
Because like you can like hear the band play and like they can sound great and this and that, but like if you guys aren't willing to work with each other, like, you know, just go find other people that you'd much rather want to work with. I don't know. It like you gotta really like harvest some kind of like good energy as like a group,
Synergy.
and like you know, like vibe with each other. It doesn't always have to be like let's practice and like let's do this, let's do that. Like, dude, let's just go watch a movie.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like we watch a lot of shows. We play a lot of Smash Bros.
We do. We
play
do a lot of
Smash
stuff
Bros.
other than music together. I mean,
Yeah,
that's like
you
the
know.
biggest part of it. I think it's the relationship between the musicians, because I don't want to go to a show and see a whole bunch of musicians that hate each other up on stage.
I mean,
you know,
you
like,
might not.
You can feel it.
it's awkward.
You might
Yeah.
not even like know if they're even good friends. Like people probably have seen us play and they're like, are they good friends? But like, you know, it's the fact that like it you know, it doesn't matter what the audience necessarily thinks. It's more like we know that we can like hang out together and like not do like, you know,
That
be like
behind the
petty about
scenes
it.
synergy really like comes through. You know, I think bands kind of tend to fall into like one of two camps. You know, there are some bands that are more like a solo project, you know, like someone's spearheading it and they've kind of like hired musicians. Like,
Yeah,
and
like-
that goes back, you know,
yeah.
like John Bon Jovi was like that.
Or like Foo Fighters, like, you know, Dave Grohl
Yeah,
hired
he
all those musicians.
did the whole first album himself or whatever. And
Vitus.
Foo Fighters. But then there are other kinds of bands where I feel like all of the members kind of put in a vaguely equal amount of like creative input, you know, and so the product is like not what any one of those people would have made. It's like only something that they would make together. You know what I mean? I kind of think we're kind of more like that kind of thing.
I love that, yeah. And everyone brings their own like unique flavor. Also, I think like coming from someone like obviously filmmaking as well has its own. You have to like work in a team. You just cannot do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I think that element of trust, and maybe it's similar with you guys, like especially when you're playing live, like you need to be able to know that the people who are like standing beside you on stage like will have your back. Like if this happens and that happens, like you can trust them.
Dude, yeah, if
Exactly.
someone came up and socked me in the face, man, I
Yeah.
would hope these guys would do something, bro.
Oh my
Like,
god, yeah, ballroom
Motley
blitz
Crue
right there.
jumped in.
like, if you guys like didn't do anything, man, I
Nah,
lost.
we'd back you up. I mean, what? Someone comes
Dude, it'd
and
be
sucker
so
punches
fun,
you?
dude.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that day to happen. Yeah, it's like,
Just so you can finally use your axe as
yeah,
an
give me an
axe.
excuse, dude.
He'd be instigating, he'd be like, fight.
Yeah, man.
That makes sense. So do you guys have like different types of venues that you prefer to like perform at over others?
I'd
That's
say
it's a good question.
for me personally, like there's definitely venues I like more than others. I'm
Yeah.
like it sucks because we can't really be up here and like
right.
Because this venue really sucks.
At the end of the day, you know, they are the ones that pay us.
Yeah.
So
the venues that pay.
Don't mention the ones you pay.
yeah, the venues that pay are the best venues.
Those are our favorite. The ones that pay you well. Those are our favorite.
I would say though, for sure, like when we went on tour, those venues were you know, just the best venues that I've been up on.
I mean, I think we could say which ones like have given us like the best experience. Like drop this phone.
Wait, we'll give it like 3 seconds.
I was gonna say for tour wise, the place that stood up the most for me was Glasshouse.
Yeah,
really?
Like,
I
we
love
could say
that.
we
That was
could-
crazy.
I feel like for vibe wise and like interactions with like the audience, but like also how they felt.
It was a very open floor plan.
Yeah.
This is a place in Pomona, so
cool.
We were on tour last summer, and I feel like we could talk about this because it's like I feel like all these venues are kind of like on the equal, kind of like they're on the same level, and it's not really about the venue; it was about the people. So I feel like the best kind of people had. Well, it was LA, obviously.
Oh my God, LA.
We
El
had
Rey.
a lot of.
Oh yeah, we played the El Rey.
The El Rey
That
was
really
that
cool.
was my
That was a
favorite.
big theater,
El
man.
Rey,
Yeah,
Oh,
it was awesome.
packed, man.
And the
really
Glass
cool.
House, like the Glass House is like this really like you see a lot of indie artists play there, man, and it was just cool like playing there and being like, oh, like we could say we played there. Like, that one
Glass
had a-
House treated us very nicely.
They gave us pizza.
They gave us pizza.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's how you know you've made it, guys.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
put that on the rider. We were like, are they gonna get this for us?
Dude, I could die happy now.
No, I remember going there and they gave us like pizza and some like coronas, man, and I was like, oh, I'm so like,
It was
they're
awesome.
great people, man.
It's like the snacks are out. You're like, will they charge us if we take it?
Is this like a hotel kind of deal?
Right. You're like, wait, hold on. I'm like, it's not gonna be on the tab. Like,
Yeah, that was
taken
cool.
out of our pay.
right. Yeah, you're like, this is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think like the energy, like coming back is really important. I feel like for shows that I've been to, the ones that stand out to me are like ones that aren't necessarily built to be music venues. Like they're built to be like theaters or like it's maybe a bar and then you go in and they like switch it up. Like I'm like, wait, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Definitely give like things.
There's a venue in LA that used to be a supermarket, and then it got turned into a venue.
What?
Yeah, I think it's the Troubadour.
Okay, cool.
It
The
used to-
Troubadour was a supermarket? No way.
Yeah,
No way.
it used to be a supermarket. I believe so.
kinda
Someone
crazy.
told me. Ryan told me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan would have the facts, man.
Yeah,
This is a photographer, Ryan Gomez. We work. Do you know Ryan Gomez?
I actually don't know that.
Sweetheart.
Okay,
He's
dope.
He's awesome.
he's such a great photographer.
Yeah.
And his dad like knows a lot about like LA history in terms of venues and stuff.
That's
Dude,
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and he was like, it's a supermarket. I was like, oh damn.
Wait, okay, I want to hear more about this tour that you guys took last summer. That's amazing. Like,
Oh yeah.
how did you guys set that up? Like, what happened? Like, the people need to know.
Diego
got
So Diego has this ex.
No, yeah, I had this ex-girlfriend, and no disrespect to her, like she was nice and everything. She had a family relative that worked for this booking agency, and she was a booking agent.
Okay.
And I remember just having dinner one time, and she's like, "Yeah, I book shows for this artist, a Spanish band. This is like an indie, like popular Spanish band." And then I was like, "Dude, I'd love to open for them." And then we kind of arranged it from there. Like it was like 5 months before the gig.
Yeah.
And I just remember being in high school because I was still a senior at this time. And I remember being in class, like typing up the typewriter, and like he used to sit next to me too. So I'd be like, "Hey, how does this sound?" And then he'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." And then like I just remember the whole preparation for it was really exciting. And then once we hit the road, I remember our dads were the ones that like kind of helped us a lot because my dad drove his car, and then his dad drove his car.
Shout out to our dads.
Yeah,
man.
shout out to the Frameways dads.
To the
Yeah,
papas.
and moms too.
Yeah,
and moms.
But they really helped because they
We had a
drove
lot of
us-
equipment to bring, you know.
Yeah, it was a lot of equipment and people.
And we were driving far. Like we had 4 different shows. We were joining this band for 4 dates in California, which was
Back to back dates.
Yeah.
Also.
It was like three back to back, and then a day's rest before San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Was it
Was it?
Pomona?
It was
San
San
Diego.
Diego to Pomona.
San Diego, Pomona.
Then we did LA, and then we had
So
to
we had
drive
a
all the way
day
to San
we had a
Francisco.
day of rest, which we just chilled, stayed home. And the day after we went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting because I don't know, not a lot of bands can say that they've been on tour.
Yeah.
And like
It's hard
opened
nowadays.
up. Yeah, opened up for another band is a completely different thing too. So
Dude, that was a bucket list thing. Definitely.
Yeah, we had
like
our dads were selling merch from the stand and everything, and like they were helping a lot. He had his cousins come down from.
My cousins came
Valley.
down from Moval and Hemet. Speaking of which, it's one of their birthdays today.
Hey,
shout out.
Happy birthday, Mia.
Happy birthday, Mia.
Yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, no, our families are really, really supportive of what we do now that they see that we've started doing some cool stuff.
Oh, you guys are kind of serious.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, our sons have been on tour.
Yeah. It's definitely a family affair, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, for an independent band, like, there's not a whole lot of, like, support network in place anymore. I mean, there wasn't even, like, decades ago, but, like, nowadays even more so, you know? There's just no money in the music industry, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they're just worried that it's just not, like, something stable, but I mean...
But it's because of them that, like, we have the opportunity to, like, the freedom to do stuff like that tour, which is really cool.
It was the most fun I've ever had in my life, man. Like, dude, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.
Hitting the road with your best friends and then playing shows and being in the green room and like just feeling it was just really fun, man.
Yeah,
like,
we were tight, we were practiced, and man.
Yeah.
Dude, we just kind of just let it happen. Like it was perfect, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I love that. And also what you guys were saying, like, oh, like, it definitely does take a village, I feel like. And even what you're saying about how, like, different art forms are overlapped with that, you're like, oh, like, we're selling t-shirts, like, I'm sure someone helped you design that. Like, that's really cool. That's really
There's a lot of people that helped us, and it felt like a big, like, thing that just came together from a lot of different groups of people.
Yeah, and speaking of taking a village, too, like, it's reminded me of my friends who are also, like, musicians, and they started a startup that is about supporting independent musicians like yourself. I don't know if you guys know Slingshot. It's,
I've heard of it.
Yeah. They usually, honestly, before I'll send you guys like the information.
Okay,
they're actually having a party. So we will be sending that over.
Tonight?
No, it's
this guy. Let's go.
I've not heard it, but yeah, I've heard of Slingshot.
Yeah, and their whole thing is supporting independent artists. They're kind of like doing half like management, but then also like half like videos and everything. It's really great.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Like those kinds of organizations, you know, people coming together to like pool resources. That's how it happens nowadays, you know.
Yeah.
Because like you know, record deals don't come around like they used to.
Yeah, like you can't really rely on that anymore, and the industry's changing, man. Like you gotta, it's more like you gotta pick up your own weight with this whole real TikTok thing.
Unfortunately. Yeah. It doesn't come super naturally to us, but we're trying.
Unfortunately for some people, but it is a great like way of like getting out there.
Yeah.
It's a great equalizer, you know.
Definitely been waiting on that record deal. So.
Soon. Yeah, that's one thing that, I mean, there's pros and cons to it too with like the TikTok and Instagram. The pro is that, again, it's the equalization of it all where anyone can post out there.
Yeah.
And I think like what's good about it is that you just have to like make, and like you almost have to
sell yourself out.
Sometimes it feels like that because it's like, oh, you want to make music and just make your music and you have to make it for the algorithm almost sometimes. Like, I
think that's selling yourself out in a way that's like, you have to like kind of like let go of this kind of like persona in a way, because it's like you're not gonna make it if you want to be this mysterious like dude. Like you gotta like sell out and be like, all right.
People want like access.
Yeah, so
you gotta be an influencer.
It's really hard.
You gotta balance the mystery.
Yeah, like it's hard to have like your online persona, but then you're like, what is like making a reel? I'm like, what is our guitarist doing with this pedal board? And it's like, it's like, all right, like they're goofy, but they're not. Like, come on, it's hard, but it kind of helps sometimes. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. Like that's actually one of my questions was like the way that you guys have like noticed the industry changing, even whether that be the internet, AI. I'm sure with live events like post-COVID, like what are some things that you guys have like noticed in the industry?
I mean, I would say like, you know, we're pretty close with this one band, Wilt, that is like has shown to us and like the rest of the internet that you can get famous off of, you know, TikToks and reels and stuff like that.
They've been doing really well. They're posting consistently.
Oh, they're doing great, and I'm so
supporting,
glad.
Like big acts on tour. You know, they were touring with Remo Drive, which is a pretty big indie band. Like Dude, we went and saw them. They did great, man.
Yeah, they're awesome, and they're just cool homies to us and all that. They produce and they mix our music and stuff like that, which is really, really nice because I feel like their music is not like the most similar to ours, but it's like definitely in the same vein.
Yeah. So they know how to like. It's hard sometimes to take a recording and make it sound how you think it's gonna sound, you know, when you just have all this raw audio, you know. But they kind of have a similar, you know.
But like their example though, really like showed me. I don't know about you guys, but like it kind of showed me like that's the way that it's got to be now.
It's like DIY,
you know?
like everything you have to do yourself. It's like you do it yourself until like you get picked up by like an indie record label.
It's all marketing.
And then they take you up to the higher ups eventually. But it's basically like you gotta, you know, do it yourself a little bit from the beginning. Which is because like everybody has the resources now, man. Like, dude, Steve Lacy recorded an album with GarageBand, so it's like that. If that's the standard, like,
yeah. I understand that. I think it's similar for film people too. Like, there's this kid, I think his name's Wesley something. He just got a A24 movie. Kid straight out of high school, posting on YouTube, short films on YouTube. Like, and again, like I said, the pros and the cons. But I also think what you were saying about, you don't want to sell yourself out. I think also there's space for people doing things different. Like, I feel like people gravitate towards authenticity.
Definitely.
On TikTok. So I feel like if you're genuinely being yourself, posting consistently, and it's what you want to post, like, I think people definitely, because people can smell when people are being fake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can be tempting to be like, I'll do everything that the algorithm wants me to do or
like,
whatever.
If you guys go to
do your own thing,
If you guys go to our TikTok, which is just Frameways, or even our Instagram with our reels.
Nice plug.
Also
like,
at Frameways.
The same thing everywhere. Like, we first started posting reels that were kind of like skits, and then we were like, I don't know, like, I just remember thinking, like, it's not really us, man. Like, I'm not a great actor. Like, dude, I write music. I can't act it out. So, like, I don't know, recently, like, the reels we make, it's more just, like, we just make fun of ourselves. Like, we beat people to the joke. Or, like, like, and that works. Like, I find it fun. Like, why, like, do we got to be so serious about the reels? Like, why don't, like, if we just make fun of ourselves and then, like, somebody finds it and they're like, I relate to that. I'm in a band. It's, like, cool. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know.
I want it to be like a reflection of like what people were to expect if they were to come to one of our shows. Either come to one of our shows or like meet us in person. You know? Because like I feel like if people meet us in person, like we're just some guys.
We are. We're just dudes at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's not that deep. We like to just goof around. You know, and that's kind of like the vibe that I really want to bring out. Even though like our music could be a little bit, I don't even know if our music is serious. I don't even think it is.
I don't know, man. We just make it.
We just do it. Like we just do music. Like it's not that deep,
It's
and I want that to be the vibe that we sort of give off, Like it's a party when you come to watch us, or it's this. It's not like this big like project that's gonna change the world, It's
I mean, if we ever wanted to, like, right now we're young, dude. We don't have a frontal cortex yet. So
dude, we're like, I'm 18, man. Like,
guys, you're freaking me out. I'm getting close to having a fully developed brain.
Oh no.
Well,
You're like,
it does not feel close to fully developed yet.
Too bad.
So.
Yeah, coming from someone who's also, we were in the same year.
Yeah.
You do not feel like an adult.
I'm turning 24 this year. That's weird.
It's developed.
Yeah, that sounds old.
Yeah. It's a serious age. It's a serious age. You're like, wait, hold on.
Oh shit, people are being serious now.
But no, you can still have those like elements of play, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then what you guys are saying too is, again, if you post what genuinely comes to you, then it will attract people who genuinely would be interested in the band.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Okay, so speaking about being an independent band, how do you guys handle
Nice.
The beauty of the magic is that we can restart that sentence.
Yeah.
Speaking about being an independent band, how do you guys handle it, / do you guys even want to handle, and again, we can speak, nicely because we're on camera, like managers, agents, are you guys self-managed? Like, how do you guys go about that?
I don't think, like, I feel like there's this stigmatism of, like, oh, like, evil manager, bad. Like, every manager is, like, a bad guy. But I mean, it's not that, like, we don't have a manager right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we've ever had one. We've had some people that like tried to step up to that position, but they weren't like trained to be one. So, you know, I don't blame them for
They did what they could.
Yeah, I don't blame them for being bad necessarily, because they weren't. They were just doing the best they could because they really believed in like us. So that's great, like, that they came around and like helped us out. But right now we don't have a manager, and it's not like every manager is evil, bad. It's like, you know, there's some good, you know, people there that really, you know, see some talent in you. And the way I see a manager, it's more of like a PE teacher, or like a coach, or like a trainer. They really train you so that they can get the best possible like out of you. It's not like, you know, we're gonna book you a gig and I'm gonna do, like, it's not, they don't do the work.
It's
for
not
you.
so mercenary. Yeah,
it's like they train you so that you can, you know, be the best possible person. They you know, they pivot you in certain directions so that you can do things a little, you know, differently that could, you know, make you blow up.
And so sometimes it's important to have like a point person for decisions and stuff like that who's not in the band.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
was
mean?
gonna say that right now because like, you know, it's like if we were to get into some sort of, you know, issue with like a venue or with some sort of entity and all that, it's really good to have a manager, you know, kind of fight those battles for us, because then that's their face.
We don't have to be the bad guy.
We're not the bad guy. We would just be like, it's our manager, you know, my bad,
what can I
sorry
do?
about that, you know? But
like,
not having a manager, like, that's the only thing that like is kind of rough about not having a manager. Somebody like representing you is the lack of representation. Like, if you burn a bridge, then it's like,
I also think like in a band you carry yourself, like there's your individual ego that is a thing, and then as a band there's a Frameways ego. Like the whole band has their like the ego that you get from being in the band. I feel like having a manager like doesn't care about that, and like they can really like tell you like directly like this is not good. Like you kind of have to be like, you know what, like all right, we'll change it up and we'll do something different, because like, you know, working with a manager could be tough. Like, you know, they could easily come to you and be like, I've got many years of experience, I've helped these kind of bands, and like you're like, damn, like I gotta listen to this dude. So it's like a coach. It really is. It's not like a booking agent or anything. It's a coach. And it's not bad. I mean, there has been some bad ones that like embezzled money, but like, you know, I don't know.
not with us. We haven't had anybody embezzle any money.
I don't remember
past
calling
managers
embezzlers.
listening.
No, but like,
You don't have money.
you know.
What money?
Yeah, we don't have money to begin with. There's no money to embezzle. So if somebody's taking money off of somewhere, I want to know where.
Where did they come from?
We're gonna need that back. Yeah, that makes sense. That idea of managers. Also, I think when you're a young band too, like sometimes people see youth and they don't want to take it seriously. So having that person to like be like, hey, like we're serious.
Exactly.
But you guys did not hear this from me. But one of my friends, who's actor like type, he was saying that what he'll do and his other friend who's like a musician, they'll like swap emails, and they have like emails that's not professional, and then they'll call each other their own managers if they like aren't in those positions. They'll be like, yeah, this is my manager.
Smart. Just to have someone be like, yes, I have a manager.
You're right, exactly, because it just
Of course.
makes you, right.
It makes you
speak to
elitist.
my manager.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like it's the reality of the situation. Like even though like you know that you're just as competent with or without one, sometimes it's just that bound or that like barrier of like saying that you have one can get you into spaces. So
Gives you some authority.
yeah,
Makes you
Love it.
seem serious. I mean, a lot of like the entertainment industry in general, but like, you know, the music industry just as much as the film industry is like, you know, posturing and making people think you know exactly what you're doing.
I love posturing.
Yeah, it's fun.
What a good posture.
Okay, so we already spoke
Fix
about
it.
how
Yeah,
or
no,
what
I'm
makes a
thinking
good
about
band, but in your guys' opinions, like what makes a good individual musician? The qualities that make it.
Willingness to experiment.
I think that's a little different. I think that everybody has their own kind of definition to that. Like some people think like just practice, and that is a good one. Like I feel like if you're like a musician in like in an orchestra, like if you play for like the LA Philharmonic, like yeah, dude, practice. Like that's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
But like if you're a songwriter, let's say, like maybe don't be afraid of like the unknown. Like try everything. Like it really comes down to a lot.
I mean, we were kind of talking about this the other day. You know, there are different kinds of musicians, and different things motivate them. You know,
Yeah.
like because we were talking about how you guys were like, you know, growing up felt more motivated musically by like competition, by like wanting to be, you know, the best around. But then like, you know, it's a wide world out there. Sometimes that doesn't drive you forever. You Sometimes you gotta find
like me and him were very
process.
competitive in high school with like our musical talents. I mean, he might still be a little competitive, but I might just be speaking for myself. But like, I don't know. I feel like
hit the like 30-minute limit or whatever.
Yeah, 30-minute limit. So start from what you were saying and just
So like for me, it's a lot. It is still like a lot of competition, but like definitely a little bit less pessimistic than it used to be. I used to definitely look at other musicians that were better than me and just be like, okay, now I need to be better than them, and just kind of like have it really shallow like that. But it's a lot deeper now, I would say, you know, especially band-wise now too. You know, that's a very big motivation for me. You know, like I want to be the best. I want to have us be the best band on the bill every single time that we play. Like my goal is to have us be the most memorable band, you know, the most energetic band, the most whatever, the tightest,
the best that we can.
You know, yeah. And if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But like, I want that to be the goal, right? But like going back to what you were saying about like what makes a you know, good individual musician, I think it's the character. I think it all stems from the character.
If you're easy to work with.
Yeah,
I think that really stems it down. Like you can't be, you know, you can be the greatest musician of all time, but like, you know, you can be like this douche about it. Like you could be this like jock about it. Like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm just ripping through. It's like, all right, like
it doesn't matter.
Settle down.
It's just all thrown away after that. You know?
Yeah.
If
like,
you're a dick, you have to either be like the best of all time or insanely lucky.
Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know. It's like if you're a really easy person to work with.
Yeah, because then people want to work with you. And again,
I mean, dude, music's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like tormenting. It's not supposed to be like, man, I'm gonna sit down and do this. Like it's supposed to be something that like you pick up and you're like, you know what, like I'm gonna have some fun, or like, you know, it's this like environment. It's not supposed to be hostile.
Yeah, fortunately, I like the guitar, so you know,
like we have fun doing it. You know, like I sit down and write when I want to feel something. You know, when I need to get something out.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I love that. Back to the idea of being an independent musician. This is one thing that I also ask the filmmakers as well, because I think it's important, right? The idea of like managing being a band and then also like doing side hustles and like having finances. And I know you guys are a little bit younger, but then again, you're closer to my age. Like, how do you guys like tend to handle that? If you have any advice for people who want to be a band?
Let's have the adults answer
like
this.
If he has a job,
like managing that.
I mean, I kind of like recently, like I booked a gig and then he had work that day. And then hold up, like
joint effort.
Well, I booked a gig and like he had a work that day, so he was like, I got work.
Yeah.
And, like I'm not gonna be like call that day off, like, you know. But I was just like, all right, I'll just cancel the gig. And
that's just the reality of it sometimes, you know, like.
Yeah.
Especially when you're choosing between like, you know, a gig that might make you $50 minus all the gas you spent getting there, yada yada.
It's not about the money though.
Well, of course, sometimes it's not about the money, but it's an important consideration.
It's about the money sometimes.
It's good. You should value yourself enough to like. I mean, be paid for what you do. You know, like we believe that firmly. Like, you know, we don't
value like.
We'll donate our time if it's like a charity. You know, a charity event, something like, or like something that's like bringing a lot of people together.
We do free gigs all the time, guys.
Nice.
Yeah,
just like we do. It happens a lot.
But like I think
that's like with friends. That's like independent stuff.
Money is a great way to show that you appreciate that, like, you know, the band came out and, you know, set up and did all that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to put on a show, dude. It takes a lot of hours of work to you know, rehearse and to
rehearsing, moving things,
moving our own equipment. You know, it's like we don't have roadies, we don't have this, we don't have that. You know, just like if you give us enough money to get some food, like that's pretty much it.
Honestly,
you know,
that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like, as far as balancing that with like, you know, real world responsibilities and stuff, I mean, like, I only just graduated, you know, like 2 weeks ago now. So I was still balancing it in kind of like a college student mindset. But even so, you know, it's like, I'm lucky that I love doing it so much because it made it so that like music was one of the main things I did when I had a spare second, you know what I mean? So I had all my other responsibilities, but like I specifically don't study music or anything like that. So so I can keep it separate. This is just like me personally. This is how I am as a musician.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it to be work. I like to, do it when I really truly want to do it. And if I allow myself that space, I'll pick up the guitar and I'll write some stuff and I'll have a good time and I'll jam with these guys and it'll be great.
Yeah.
I make that time in my schedule because it like keeps me sane,
Yeah. That makes sense. That's a topic that a lot of the film girlies handle too, because there's it's like almost 50-50 the amount of famous directors that did go to film schools that are like NYU, USC, and that didn't, and it's almost evenly split. So, my thing was I just minored in it because again you don't want to like overdo it too much, but then then you allow yourself space to do it when you feel called to.
Yeah, and then you still put yourself in the spaces of other interesting creative people doing the same thing, loving the same thing you're doing. Like with film, it's the same way, I was also a cinematic arts minor.
Oh, cool.
And and so by the time I graduated, I feel like I'm friends with a lot of really cool, interesting people making cool, interesting projects.
Yeah.
And that I'm thankful for more than many other things,
Yeah. No, that was honestly one of my favorite things about USC. It's like you just are surrounded by creative people in so many different aspects. Like, there's
all kinds of creative people.
It's insane. Like, your friends will work at Google, and then your other friend will work at I don't know, Disney. Like, it's insane, and you learn so much from everyone. Yeah. And I think creatives of each background, like definitely you need to support each other. Like one of my good friends, I don't know if you know him, he's our year, Eric. He was
I think I follow him, but I don't know if we're like personally.
No, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he does music videos, right? So his friends are musicians, and he'll do music videos.
Right.
Like just stuff like that. But okay, yes. So we're getting to the last couple of questions. Before I ask the final one, I'll ask if you could change anything about the music industry, what would that be? To make it for the better.
Nepotism. Well, I feel like
that's something that's difficult to zap out.
That's because then you're zapping
No more children. No one's related. Nobody is going to have any more children in the music industry.
Test tube babies only.
Exactly.
That's a little hard. But if it was possible, I would I wish it was fair. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nepotism's annoying.
I wish that it was just a little bit more fair. I mean, I don't know. The music industry is really complicated.
It is really complicated, and it's it's almost set up to be complicated so that you don't know how to fix it. You know what I mean?
The whole if I could personally, I don't speak for you guys, but if there's one thing in the industry that I could change is I wish you could sample things and not have to pay $1 million for it, man. I wish you could just sample something or it sounds really bad.
I wish I could take
you gotta do that. And I'm not endorsing stealing, but Beethoven did once say great musicians borrow and
good musicians borrow, great musicians steal.
So it's we always take inspiration from somewhere, but it'd be cool everybody has a different lens of how a drum sample would how would it sound with this or that and this, and then I feel it'd be cool if you take a sample and you don't gotta suffer the financial repercussions. So yeah.
No, that's such a multifaceted question. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
If there was one thing that I would change, I feel it would just be some kind of system in place, whether this would be the abolition of Spotify or something like that, but obviously that genie is out of the bottle.
Yeah.
But just some kind of way for your average, everyday musician to put in consistent work and get consistent pay.
Streams, because back in the day, I wasn't born back in the day, but
right.
You gotta
you'd
study
sell
that.
albums. You'd sell albums and you'd
at
get
the store.
You'd get money from it.
People really buy it, and it's more direct.
And people would be going to concerts more often. Ticket prices were $10. Hey, you want to go see Michael Jackson? It's $15.
You're yes.
But now it's even your middle of the road kind of bands, you're looking at 50 to 80 to at least, and just that kind of, it's clear that the money is unbalanced right now. You know what I mean? Because the consumers are spending a lot more than they used to, and the artists are getting a lot less than they used to. I wonder where it's going, but that's a tough nut to crack.
I mean, I think like if I were to change something about the music industry, you know, I would keep it like sort of simple and just be like, I really want bands and like rock to come back, you know, in some sort of capacity, because like, so a couple days ago I got really bored and I did a deep dive on like all of Imagine Dragons. Right? Because I was like, I remember as a kid loving Imagine Dragons. I remember as a kid loving Imagine Dragons and being like,
yeah, when that album first came out,
dude, I was like, dude, this is a
cool
mainstream rock band, you know, like it's arena rock, whatever. But then like they just, I'm sorry, they just came out with a whole bunch of stuff that just sounded terrible, and I just wanted to see like if they ever were a good rock band, you know, and why a whole bunch of people listen to them. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and just like kill Imagine Dragons, but like I don't know, like I just think that bands and rock music as a whole, like it's so much more than that. Like why are we gonna end it off at Imagine Dragons?
That brings up like another good point. Like I feel like they probably pivoted their way of music just because like the media was like, you know, you gotta make it marketable. I wish like we were still in the days and ages of like bands like uplifting each other and like being like supportive. Like I know that's like still talked about and stuff, but like, you know, now with like your numbers and like your own personal Instagrams and all of this, like it becomes like very like, oh, I have 1,000, like, you know, it's like, oh, I have 100,000 followers, so why would I work with you? And it's like, wow, like you don't really even like, it's just like, oh, you've got this amount of followers, all right, we'll take this guy into consideration. But it's like, dude, like I don't know, like I wish like it was really like
good music is good music, man. Like that's what I like. I don't know if we ever get
really
to a position
now, man.
If we get to a position where we're like super famous, maybe, you know, like I would want, like, I don't care if you have like 2 followers, but your music is banging. Like, dude, just get up on stage with us. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, like we came from nothing. Like we know how it is. Like it's just
it became very like individual. Like you start up your Instagram and it's yours, and like now you see somebody else's and you're competing because like you guys are competing for the same platform or on the same platform, and it's like, all right, like what do we like? It's not like I don't know. Like I wish it was more friendly.
Music doesn't need to be a numbers game.
Like you know, a lot of
I'm
bands,
a numbers guy.
Like they do gigs with other bands and stuff like that, and that's really nice. Like we've been on bills like that. I wish that was more of a thing.
Yeah.
House parties and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be fire.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel like if I would change anything, it would just maybe establish a more like stable community when it comes to like musicians, regardless of like genre or following. If we're talking about that as well, because I feel like ego is always a big problem when it comes to music, and that's like that can be the root for a lot of like reasons of why music doesn't pick up, or maybe sometimes why it does, but also why others get pushed under the rug. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That makes sense.
You know, people talk about like, you know, music scenes a whole lot, and you know, that definitely still exists, but it's like it feels different now. You know,
Not
I
as
don't know.
authentic, I'd say.
I think also part of it, like being in Los Angeles, like it's a very wide city, you know, and there's not really, like, short of venues, you know, there's not really a lot of places where, you know, a bunch of like-minded bands will like all end up in the same spot randomly. Like you kind of have to like know people who know people, you know.
yeah.
And that's not bad inherently. It's just like it doesn't foster such a wide network, you know. Or maybe we're just not in the network. Maybe we just gotta get it.
You gotta build your own network too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe we're lost, guys.
Maybe the music scene is all happening. We're just kind of over
You're
here.
like, wait.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. LA is spread out, and yeah, I can go into a whole thing about LA and the New York scene, but we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, every city will be a little different. Will foster its own little thing, you know. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, honestly. But that is what it is, you know. And you just got to work with it. You just got to, you know, keep the friendships strong when they come, you know.
Okay, that makes sense. And our last question of the day: how do you guys use music to positively impact the community around you?
I think, like, do you want to say something, or?
I was just gonna, kind of turn that question in on itself and just say, like, my favorite part about it is, like, the community that we have made through it, I mean, when it, like, bringing some of my friends from back home in Cleveland and, like, inserting them into jam sessions with, like, other musicians that we met out here, like Chase on the electric oboe, like just getting all kinds of weird stuff together. Like, when you kind of keep an open mind about this sort of thing, like, eventually you look around at, like, the room you're in. I know I was just saying that there's not, like, an LA scene, but, what we have been able to make for ourselves with the friends that we've made and, like, the music that we've made with them, like, it's given me purpose, I feel like. It's given me something to look forward to, given me something to strive for.
I mean, like, I've been in LA my entire life, so I have a different, like, look at it. It's like, rappers from a certain group, like this, like, people from the community, like, really support them. Like, I don't know, like Nipsey, I lived by, like, everybody that really, like, envied Nipsey Hussle, and, like, dude, like, everybody loved him. Like, I mean, not everybody, but, like, it was a community that he had with them that, like, stood by his side when he was, like, nominated for a Grammy and all this. I feel like that's the kind of vibe, like, I would like, this is, like, even though, like, we play, like, some, like, harder music, or I mean, not even that hard, it's, like, emo, whatever, it's, like, it's a band. Yeah. And, like, let's say, like, my homie from high school, like, it's, like, a complete, like, he just listens to rap. He'd probably be like, those guys, like, I still, I appreciate them. Like, they made it out of the same hood. And, like, they're from the same, like, kind of pond as us. So, like, that kind of, like, thing is cool, like, having, like, your own community stand by you. Like, even though, like, he's a completely different dude than you, probably listens to a different type of music, he can appreciate the fact that, like, we're both from the same part of town, and we've made something out of it, and yeah, like, stuff like that.
I mean, I would say too, like, it's very similar to what Diego said. Like, I want to represent my community. I want to, like, being from South Central, being the son of immigrants, like, that will follow me everywhere, and I will wear that on my chest, I really want to show my community, like, that was a really big thing about getting into USC for me. And also, like, this past week I was me and Diego were camp counselors for Troy camp.
Oh, cool.
And, like, I was a camper and all that, but, like, the really big thing is showing people in my community, that, like, you can, you can do these things despite, sort of financial hardships, despite all of that sort of stuff, like, it's possible to get to USC, it's possible to become a successful musician, hopefully,
I mean, the key is just not stopping.
Exactly. And, like, and Cameron, like, my world has opened up since meeting Cam, because, like you said, we've met so many of his friends in Cleveland. We went to Cleveland and met all them as
Find
well.
a random white man.
Dude, yeah, it's like a get out of jail.
Doors open.
No, but
find
for
a
real,
Cameron like, over the fence.
And look across your fence.
But like the musicians that we've met, like his friends and his other band that is in Cleveland and everybody, like, first things first, like, they were just the coolest guys, they were so nice to us and all that, like, before being musicians, before, like, the whole music thing. It's like, the reason why I want to continue a relationship with them and the reason why I want to continue playing with them.
It's not to, like, get their music down.
No, I don't care about any of that.
They're good folks.
They're cool, man. They like, they get it,
Yeah.
And they're my kind of people, and like I said, like, it's not about the music at that point, it's about, like you said, the community, building that up and all that. Like, I can die happy right now if we were to just stop, like, not just stop, but if for some reason,
we're all to drop dead.
If for some reason, like, they drop the bomb on us right now, like,
right.
I would look back with pride. Like, I'll be really proud. I'm really happy to have met the people that I've met, to have played the shows that I've played. By no means am I saying that I'm done, because we're not done at all.
Oh, yeah,
we
not
have
at all.
so much more that we want to do.
But God damn it, we gave it a shot, you know?
Dude, yeah, and we're giving it a shot,
Yeah.
you know. So that's the biggest thing, you know. At least for me. What about you?
I'm for community-wise. I would say when it comes to like me, but also the band, even though like for me anyway, I wouldn't like think this would happen, but we've inspired people just from playing our music, but also just like this is our dream. So in following our dream, we've inspired people too, and
Which
it's
is
not
so
like,
weird when it happens.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
someone's
It's not like we're trying to, or
Yeah.
like there's like that's not even in our thoughts when it happens. But like people would come up to us and just be like, yeah, like just listening to you guys, but then also just like I've known you for like so long. Now it's fueling me, and because like I've never done music at school, now they're doing music like outside of it because they've just been surrounded by it, but never had a chance to dive into it themselves. So I feel like opening that door for people, even though like you're not like explicitly telling them or helping them, like that's the thing that's always helping regardless of whether you know the person or not, or whether they're in the same area as you. Like it happens just like everywhere.
Yeah. You know, if you try to do what you do authentically, like people notice.
Good music finds a way, man. Yeah, it finds a way somehow.
I think that's a good reason.
I love that. All right, shout out your guys' Instagrams and socials one more time.
Yeah, follow us at Frameways everywhere. We got that very simple tag, no official or anything, just at Frameways.
FRAMEWAYS.
All together. Spotify, Tidal,
Gmail, if you guys want to send us an email.
Yeah, send us an email.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
become
that's happened
pen
before, by the
pals.
way.
Yeah.
Dude, we read.
Really?
We read
Oh,
everything.
We read it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's happened before.
That's funny.
Ace.
Oh, come see our show in June
Yes.
at the Peppermint Club.
Yeah, June 19th.
June 19th,
June
baby.
19th, Peppermint Club. Come see us.
Love.